Hello class, and welcome to our lesson on absolute value combined with operations. Go ahead and on a new page in your ISN, write the title, date, and page number. Make sure that you record this title and page number in our table of contents. Let's go ahead and get started. So first off, what exactly is absolute value? Absolute value is any number's distance from zero on the number line, regardless of its sign. So essentially, we're trying to figure out how far or how close a number is from zero on the number line. This sign, or we can know that we're dealing with absolute value because it will be signified by this symbol. You'll see two long brackets on either side of a number or variable. Here for this example, I'm going to use A as my variable. So around the number of variable, you'll see these two thick lines. Now let's do some absolute value practice. Okay, go ahead and write your table of contents 2. And for A, we're going to start by drawing out our number line. Okay. Go ahead and write these problems down to start off with, making sure you skip a line in between each one. And when you're finished with all the problems, we are going to have 6. When you're finished with the other 3, make sure that you raise your hand and get me to check off to ensure that you're on the right track. So let's try the first one. The absolute value of 2 is, well, let's use our number line. How far is positive 2 away from 0? 1, 2. So the absolute value of 2 is 2. What about the absolute value of negative 3? Well, how far is negative 3 away from 0? Oops. Should add that in. 1, 2, 3. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. What about the absolute value of 4? If you chose the answer 4, then you're correct. Now, go ahead and write these problems and complete. When you finish, come back to the video after you've gotten Ms. Fersner to check your answers. Now that Ms. Fersner has checked your answers off, I want you to skip a line and write down this question in your notebook. Will negative 7 and positive 7 have the same absolute value? Please tell me yes or no and explain your reasoning. Skip 3 lines to give yourself room to explain your answer to this question. And when you are finished, raise your hand so that I can check you off, and then you may move on to the next part of our notes. Now, skip a space and we're going to write our Roman numeral 3, which is going to be our absolute value with operations practice. Then I want you to write down the following questions. Once you've written these questions down, we're going to work the first 2 out together, and then I'm going to allow you to work the rest of these individually. When you're finished, please raise your hand so that I can check your work. Okay? So, what we're going to do, or what I expect you to do with these problems, is to first break down what the absolute value is, if you see that as a sign, and then solve the problem. So for example, for number 1, we are asked to add the absolute value of negative 3 plus the absolute value of negative 5. So I know that the absolute value of negative 3 is 3. Plus the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So my answer is going to be 8. Okay? Now if I move down here, the absolute value of 5 is 5 minus the absolute value of negative 5 is also 5. Now I have a subtracting integer situation. So I know that I need to change this to an addition problem. How do I do that? That becomes 5 plus negative 5. And then I can sing my song. Same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. These are two different signs. So I'm going to subtract 5 minus 5 is going to give me 0. Now, keep in mind 0 means nothing, so 0 has no sign. Go ahead and answer the rest of the questions. When you're finished, then raise your hand so that I can check your answers. Then you will finally be done with our lesson on absolute value and can practice on IXL. Have a great one.